So Deadpool and Wolverine is out. It's been out for 3 days, but I've decided I'm still going to keep this review non-spoiler. So let's get into my non-spoiler Deadpool and Wolverine review. The first thing you probably want to know, does this live up to the hype? Yes, it absolutely does, and it exceeds it in my opinion. This is a wild ride from start to finish. It is everything I expected it to be and more. Ryan Reynolds is finally in the MCU as Deadpool, and he was perfect, absolutely perfect. The humor was not watered down, the violence was not watered down, and I've seen some people say that it was, and that it was a little bit tame. I don't know what movie they were watching, because it felt like a perfect synchronized fit for Deadpool 1 and 2. This was no different. It was not watered down, and I will die on that hill. Anyone who thinks that it is, you need to watch it again, because it wasn't. The opening sequence of this movie is the best of the MCU, hands down. You're going to be singing one particular song over and over. It's not going to leave your head, and it's not just the song that's not going to leave your head, it's the visuals as well. Just the entire way that the opening scene is done, chef's kiss, it is brilliant. Hugh Jackman is as perfect as you probably expect him to be, and with this being rated R and having a higher mature rating, this allows for Hugh and Ryan to have a lot of crude jokes back and forth with each other. And there's actually one particular scene that really stood out to me with Hugh Jackman, and no one's really talking about it. Now, no spoilers, but it's when Deadpool and Wolverine are sitting in a car and they have a fight with each other, a verbal fight, and they're going back and forth at each other, and Hugh Jackman has like a maybe 20-second speech where he is just going at Deadpool, and some of the things he said and the way he was delivering those lines was impeccable. He was really, really good, and his emotions came across perfectly on screen. Their banter is as good as you expect it to be. I seriously think that having these two in the MCU is just nothing but a blessing. They are hilarious together. They bounce off each other so well, and they love each other in real life. You know, they're best mates, so you can really see that translate on screen. They're so good, and I really want to see them again and again in the MCU as a pair. I touched on a song that plays in the opening sequence, but the soundtrack throughout the rest of the movie is just 10 out of 10. It is so good. Some of the most memorable songs you're going to hear, and there is certain songs, like for example, it is in the trailer so it's not a spoiler, Like a Prayer from Madonna has been attached to this since the second trailer, and it plays in the movie as well, which you'd probably expect, but it's actually a really nice way of using that song in a really touching moment, and it really ties the whole movie in a nice bow. And I just think the way the songs were used were very good. Some of them were used in comedic ways, others were used for emotion, and it was just all executed perfectly. And again, I'll reiterate, no spoilers, but the one thing you probably want to know, cameos. There's a lot. There's a lot, and yes, they're big. They're very big, and you're gonna sit there and you're gonna actually have your jaw on the floor. Multiple times I had to pick my jaw up off the floor because I actually was just in disbelief that certain characters, certain people were on screen, and yeah, it's probably everything you expect, but the cameos are used in a really nice way that they're actually used to further serve the story. It's not like someone just walks by on screen and it's like, oh, there's that guy and that girl. They're used to propel the story, and it's actually a really good way of doing it. I seriously didn't stop laughing from start to finish. I really didn't. I keep thinking back, and I've seen it twice now, and the jokes just landed time after time for me. Now I get it, not everybody's humor is the same. Some of you probably won't think it's that funny, but for me, I loved all the Disney jokes, the Fox jokes, the Kevin Feige jokes, the self-awareness and the meta jokes. All of that was just hilarious. Like, Deadpool is well aware that he's now in the MCU, and just some of the things that he says, it's just comedy gold. It was just written to perfection. And yeah, if you're a Marvel fan and you follow all these movies and these shows, it's gonna make you laugh, because he's just self-aware as maybe how you are perceiving Marvel right now and how everybody else is and what people think about the projects lately and stuff. It's phenomenal. It's just so funny, and even if you agree or disagree, it's gonna make you just laugh your ass off. So I've sat on my score and I've thought about it multiple times. I've changed it multiple times, and this is an amazing movie that I loved from start to finish. I'm so glad Deadpool and Wolverine are in the MCU now. The humor is phenomenal. The violence, the action, everything about it, the cameos, the soundtrack, the songs, it's just so good. But I can't help but feel slightly let down and disappointed because of something that I was expecting going into this. But Kevin Feige did an interview before the movie, and he said if Endgame and Infinity War are a 10 and a 9 on how much they affect the movies going forward, Deadpool and Wolverine is an 8. And when the movie ended, I didn't really understand how this is going to affect the MCU that big and that grand going forward. This is more of a Deadpool and Wolverine self-contained story, and I expected it to be them being propelled into the MCU and paving the way and really teasing us as to what the hell is going to happen with these new Avengers movies, with the multiverse, everything. But although it gave a little bit of crumbs, it was more of a farewell and a goodbye to all of the Fox movies and everything that's come before it, and just setting it in a place that they're just kind of ready for whatever comes next, instead of really showing you this is the route that we're going. And I did kind of go in thinking that I'm going to leave the movie with a clear view of how this is going to happen, where Deadpool and Wolverine fit in, what's coming next, how this is all going to link together from now on. And I didn't really get that yet. Now, if Kevin Feige says it's an 8 out of 10, there's definitely some parts of that movie that are going to be massive going forward. And there is 2 or 3 things, especially with this being all about different timelines. The TVA is involved, you know that from the trailers. There is things that are said and that are shown about timelines, different timelines, and how they work and what affects them and things that can change them. But I just thought that it wasn't really a clear, definitive here's what's coming next, and I just did expect that, but that's just my own problem. But if you take a step back and you look at it just from the point that they're finally in the MCU, this is it, this is the beginning, whatever happens next, they're set up and they're primed for that, then you're gonna love it. But just maybe don't go in expecting this to be an endgame level event, because I don't really necessarily think that it is. That's not a bad thing, but it's maybe just a thing that you just need to lower your expectations a tad. But I'm still going to give Deadpool and Wolverine 9.5 out of 10, 4.5 stars. Literally the only reason that I'm dropping 0.5 is just because I expected a little bit more from this movie in terms of the setup for what comes next. But maybe in time that won't affect me as much, and it won't affect every single one of you. But I am a massive Marvel fan, and I just did expect a little bit more from what's coming next. But we'll find out soon. I'm sure we will. Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. I can't believe it's finally out. That's our one Marvel movie for this year done and dusted. Next year we have 4, so we'll be eating well then. But if you've seen it, let me know below. Maybe if you're still at this stage of the video and you haven't seen the movie, maybe avoid the comment section, because I would say there will be people down there talking about it, myself included. I will speak about spoilers in the comments, but it's up to you whether you open them or not. That is not my business. But Deadpool and Wolverine, it's a phenomenal movie. It lives up to the hype. They're finally in the MCU, Wolverine and Deadpool, and it's everything that you probably expect. It's funny, it's gory, it's violent. It has a lot of heart as well, and overall it's a very, very top tier MCU movie.